Hey guys, it's Unblessed Data, and welcome to another review. This time we have Arrow Season 1, Episode 20. Yep, we just hit 20 episodes in the first season. That's a big milestone. And a lot of shows that just start out, it's Season 1, they do not have anywhere close to 20 episodes in the first season. So I give Arrow big props. But this episode is called Home Invasion, and for good reason. But we'll get into that in a minute. Before I get into this review, just want to let you guys know, it does contain spoilers. If you do not want to know what happened, go watch the episode and come back. So let's get right into this review. Right off the bat, we see John and Oliver, and they're training in their little Arrow base, and they're training to go get Deadshot. That's their main goal right now, is to take down Deadshot. And as we know from the previous episode, which was a couple weeks back, because, there was a break between episode 19 and 20, Oliver basically said, okay, I'm going to dedicate my time to finding Deadshot. So then we see a little sequence, and Deadshot kills again, and he's not in Starling City, he's somewhere else. But we find out that he's actually coming back to Starling City, so now it's their chance to finally take Deadshot down. Now, John does not want him arrested, he wants him killed, because, again, he killed John's brother. So John goes back to his friend, Layla, that was, part of, like, an organization, like the CIA or whatever, Army, not for sure, but she's in a part of a big organization, and she set up a phony, deal with Deadshot, so that, he can have him in the open, and they can take him down. So, John wants to be a part of that, and kind of take him down, too. Then we go to the all-amazing flashback, and there wasn't too many flashbacks this episode, which I was kind of disappointed on. I really, really like the flashbacks. I mean, a couple episodes back, they did a whole flashback episode, where it was basically the whole episode was just a flashback. I would want that again, just because I really like the flashbacks. But Yao Fei's daughter, Oliver, and Deathstroke are all talking about, okay, we need to have a plan to take down fires. And basically, they're saying, okay, me and you, which is Slade and Yao Fei's daughter, we can go in and, stealth and go in. What can Oliver do? Well, we need cover, and we don't have any guns anymore, but we have a bow and arrow, so I think it's time that we teach him, basically. So, yeah, that's the start of him kind of learning how to use a bow and arrow, which is really cool to see. Then we go back to the present, and Layla finds out kind of John is using her to kind of get to Deathstroke to kill him, so she's kind of angry about that. And then we meet these three people named Edward, Nancy, and they're the mom and dad, and they have a little kid named Taylor. And they go up to Laurel and basically ask her for help to try to take down a man named Edward Ramus. So they want to take him down because he kind of took everything from them, all their savings, money, basically everything. And they did it wrongly. So they want to kind of get back at him, get him in court. But of course, this isn't going to go down well because Edward here is this big corporate guy, so he has a lot of power behind him. He's not going to let this happen. So then we find this hitman, and this is kind of the villain throughout this whole episode, and his name is Mr. Blank. Really, really cool villain. I actually really liked him. I thought he did an excellent job, and he dies later on, but I really wish he didn't because he was a really awesome villain. But anyway, the hitman comes, which is Mr. Blank, and he goes to Edward and Nancy's house, and he kills them. He assassinates both of them with a silenced gun, and he sees Tommy kind of like in the background, like, okay, gotta kill him now. Yeah, he's gonna actually kill their little kid. So he goes up to him, but then he finds out that Tommy, or Taylor, his name is, sorry, Taylor, the little kid, ran out the window, so he actually got away. Then Oliver sees this on the news, so he's like, okay, what's happening here with this Edward guy? So Taylor has no other family members near. He has a grandfather and grandma, but they live far away, so it's gonna have to be a couple days until they can pick him up to go live with him. So Laurel offers to take him for a while so she can watch him and take care of him just until his grandparents come. Oh, well, that's really nice, taking care of a little kid. Well, you'd be wrong because bad things happen. So yeah, we can see a lot of tension between Oliver and Tommy at this point. A lot more tension than before, even though they were really angry. Well, Tommy was really angry at Oliver for the past couple episodes because he found out he was Arrow. And yeah, so now we go back to another flashback. It was really short. It was basically just Oliver and Yao Fei's daughter training a little bit, him sucking because he hasn't not used a bow and arrow yet, and yeah. So there's a little tension there between them two. We can see the kind of like an attraction between them two, but again, he kind of says, I have someone else at home that I'm kind of together with, so I don't want to get involved with you. And he's basically talking about Laurel, but yeah. That was that little flashback. Not a lot happening there. But, yeah, then John basically just says outright he wants to kill Deathstroke. He doesn't want to arrest him, blah, blah, blah. Then Oliver's IT girl kind of tries to investigate Edward, the corporate guy. And she gets some information, so now Oliver has some more to go off of. And then we see Roy Harper again for the first time in a little while. And he actually goes to the detective's little headquarters there, the little police station, and he steals a walkie-talkie, like the radio, the police radio that they use for calls and everything. He actually steals it and goes away. Then this is where all the excitement happens because Mr. Blank, the assassin, he breaks into Laurel's apartment because, the little boy Taylor is there with them. And he breaks in and he tries to kill them. And Tommy's holding Taylor basically on the floor. They're like laying on the floor behind a couch, and Mr. Blank's going through like, "Okay, I know you're here." And then just Laurel comes in all of a sudden with a shotgun and starts shooting Mr. Blank. But then the gun gets jammed. So that was pretty crazy. Like, my dad's a cop and he taught me what to do. He was like, so that that was kind of cool. It was kind of awkward to see her like firing a shotgun, and it just looked really out of place because we usually don't see her like that. But it was kind of cool at the same time. So then her gun jams, so she's kind of like stuck, and of course Arrow jumps through the window and kind of saves the day, and he kind of fights for a little bit, but then Mr. Blank kind of runs out the window and gets away. And I just want to address something at this point. I heard a couple people commenting on my videos, actually I think it was one individual, saying that why do I call, Oliver when he's dressed up, why do I call him Arrow and not the Vigilante? Okay, they do call him the Vigilante in the show, but that's kind of weird. I don't really like it. He calls himself Arrow. That's what he calls himself. And even if, like, this was way before, like early in the season, but he even said, I forget who he was talking to, but he was saying, why don't we call the Vigilante Green Arrow? And he's like, no, that's lame. So obviously I'm not going to call him Green Arrow because it is Green Arrow, but it's not in the same context. I'm not going to call him Green Arrow. Title of the show is Arrow. I think I'm just going to call him that. That's what I think's right. So I'm going to continue to call him Arrow. And if you got a problem with that, have a nice day. I don't know. But anyway, so Mr. Blank gets away, and Arrow's there, and he kind of stares at Tommy for a minute. We can see, like Tommy's like, yeah, it's Oliver again. There's a lot of tension between them. So yeah, then Laurel's dad basically says, you know what, I'm gonna put you two, Tommy, Laurel, and Taylor in a safe house. You're gonna be guarded. We can't have this again. But then Laurel says, you know what, why don't we just stay with Laurel doesn't say this, Tommy says this. Tommy says, why don't we just stay with Oliver? His house is very secure, bodyguards everywhere. And so then the detective says, okay, yeah, I'll go ahead. So then they arrive, and Oliver basically says right away, I gotta leave because he's gonna go take down Deadshot because this Layla put up the this phony meeting with Deadshot, so he's gonna go there with John and finally take him down. But so basically Tommy says, you can't leave us now. You're here to protect us. This is why I want to come here because you're Arrow. You can protect us like not like anyone else. The best protection we have here. He says, no, you know what? I gotta go. Then we go back to Roy for a quick minute, and Roy has the police radio, and he listens in for signs of the Vigilante, and finally he sees, okay, Vigilante's over here, so he goes to the meeting place where they said, and kind of Laurel's dad kind of set up the whole thing and just to get the radio back because he knew Roy had it, so the Vigilante wasn't really there. He just wanted to lure Roy there to get the walkie-talkie back. So yeah, so we can see that kind of Roy's kind of obsessed with this idea of the Vigilante. Found out a little bit more later, which we'll get into, but yeah, so we can see that, yeah, Red Arrow is going to come out of him soon, if not in a couple episodes, I would say very soon. Then IT girl talks to Oliver and basically says, Edward, the corporate guy, is leaving Starling City. So you basically have to go after him now, or he's gonna get away, and we can never get him again. So you have to make a decision: go after Deadshot with John, or take out Edward. So he has a big decision to make there. Then we go to John, and he's like waiting in the little meeting area that Layla set up for Deadshot, and he's like, Oliver, where are you? So he's obviously late. And then we see Oliver actually went after Edward instead of Deadshot, and he took him down, put him in jail actually, but he didn't go with John, so he kind of betrayed John right there. And then Deadshot starts sniping. He didn't take the bait at all. He knew it was phony, so he starts shooting all the people there, and basically John like tackles down Layla, saves her, and then runs upstairs to try to take out Deadshot, and they kind of confront each other and they start fighting, but Deadshot eventually hits John and says, get on your knees, and he pulls down his shirt and it says, Dingle there, which is his brother's last name and his name, because every time Deadshot kills someone, he tattoos their name on. So he's like, I still have room for you, and don't forget that. He's like, and I'm not going to kill you now just because it'd be worthless because I'm not getting paid. And he knocks him out, and Deadshot gets away. So basically, yeah, John didn't get to kill Deadshot at all. He just got a threat from him. So yeah. And, then we go back to, Oliver and John, and, John's like, I needed you there. Why weren't you there? Like, I feel like you betrayed me. And you're saying, I have to make a choice. And he's like, well, you know what? You really chose Laurel over me, because you did not have to go after that guy, and you went after him over me. You're helping Laurel over me. And he's true. So, yeah, that came out. And then we go back to a flashback. They're still training Yafei's daughter and Oliver, and they actually kiss, but again, he brings up, I have, someone at home that I'm with. I don't know if they still they still look at me the same way, but I'm still for her. So we can see that there was something there, but kind of got extinguished really fast. Yeah, other than that, Edwards, the corporate guy, he's in jail right now. He's like in the little holding cell, and they say, your lawyer's here to come in to see you, and it's actually Mr. Blank, and he actually kills Edward, and he says, it's nothing personal. I just have to kill you because you've seen my face. And now I'm going to go after that kid because he's seen mine. So he's still not going to give up on killing the little kid Taylor. And a cool thing, he kind of told how he was going to kill Edward before he killed him. He put like an air bubble in his like bloodstream or something. He's like, in about 15 seconds you're going to die from it. And, that was kind of cool. I really like how Mr. Blank was presented and just how he acted. It was really cool. So then the detective, now we go back to Laurel's dad, he shows Roy like a dead body that was killed by Arrow and says, you gotta be careful. This Arrow guy, he kills people. Like, be careful what you're doing. Don't go after him. And, he's very right. But then Roy leaves, and Theo was with him too, so they kind of just leave. Then we go to Oliver's house, and the assassin breaks into Oliver's house, Mr. Blank, and he cuts the power. So Oliver is kind of in there without his Arrow suit. What's her name? Laurel, Tommy, and Taylor are in the room, and they're kind of just like, unprotected, and Oliver's trying to look for this Mr. Blank guy, and Mr. Blank's like killing all Oliver's guards and everything, and then he finally comes upon Oliver, and they start this huge fight, really, really cool fight. Some of the punches that Oliver lands on Mr. Blank, I was just like, whoa, like, I was just like clapping and stuff. It was really, really awesome, really enjoyed it. And, but then Oliver grabs one of the fire pokers, like those metal rods you move the fire around with, the logs on the fire, and he just stabs Mr. Blank. He's dead. He's done. So again, yeah, Mr. Blank's done. We don't get to see him again unless they resurrect him or something, which isn't common in comics, so, it could happen here, but I really doubt it. But yeah, he's dead. And then when the detective comes, Laurel's dad, he basically says one of my men, one of my bodyguards killed him, but then he shot him before he got away or whatever, so it didn't look like he did it. And then Taylor leaves because his grandparents finally come, so he leaves, and it's all happy, blah blah blah, you're safe now. But then Tommy gets up from Laurel's house, and he basically says, I'm leaving too. And Laurel's like, like, why are you leaving now, like, after all this time? And basically he he wanted to leave because he couldn't live with the fact that if Laurel knew that Oliver was Arrow, she would pick Oliver over him. And that's what kind of was eating away at him. So he's like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And he goes. So that was kind of a sad moment. And, you know, this whole episode was filled with, like, death, sadness, and just goodbye, I'm leaving. Like, that was the whole episode. But then we go to Roy and Thea, and Roy wants to find out who the Hood is, who Arrow is, because he saved his life. And he's saying, I can't go back to nothing now. I feel like my life is connected to this guy. So Thea's like, you know what? If this means so much for you, all right, we'll find him. We'll find the Hood. We'll find out who he really is. So we can see that's kind of where it's going to lead to Red Arrow. Then we go to John and Oliver, and John's really angry at Oliver because, well, he kind of betrayed him and didn't help him. So he basically says, you know what? I'm leaving. So, again, another person is leaving, and I'm really sad to see him go. I really hope it's just temporary. Really hope that John actually comes back, but for now, he's gone. Then we go to the last flashback of the episode, and basically, Yao Fei's daughter, Oliver, and Slade are in their little airplane, like crashed airplane, little base, and all of a sudden, Yao Fei comes right in, and is like, hey, hello, and they're like, oh, and, Yao Fei's daughter goes and hugs him, like, how'd you find us? Like, how did you escape? And he says, I didn't. And then all these people come in, and it's obviously Fire's men, and they kind of take him out. They knock him out. So, yeah, that was a pretty crazy episode. A lot of stuff happening. I thought this was a really great episode. One of the best, in my opinion, so far. But we'll see where it goes. Arrow goes from this point on. I'm just really liking this series. I have to say I'm thoroughly enjoying Arrow, and I just cannot wait for more. We know that it got renewed for Season 2, so we can, we know that it's going to keep on going, which I'm really happy about, and I'll continue doing reviews. And, it really means a lot to me when you guys say, like, thanks for the review, really helped me out, I missed the episode. I just really like hearing your opinion. Really, really makes me happy. I just want to say thank you to all the viewers that are watching this right now. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And stick around for more reviews of Arrow. I'm still reviewing Hannibal. I reviewed The Walking Dead, like the past season. So if you want to see that, if you want to see what happened with that, news and reviews all on my channel. You can actually check out a podcast that I do called The Lost Bros Podcast. It's on iTunes and Podomatic if you want to check that out. It's all about like nerdy stuff. You would really like it if you like Arrow. So thank you guys for watching again, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.